I don't think there's a single team in the league with a wider array of outcomes than the Browns. It's hard to find a fantasy football diamond in the midst of all this rough, but there's value to be had, I can promise you that. Triple Play Fantasy's YouTube channel only has one goal, and that's to help you win your fantasy leagues. Whether it's baseball, football, or basketball, make sure to subscribe so you can be in the know before your competition. Without further ado, let's talk about the smartest fantasy football value for the 2022 Cleveland Browns.
Let me also add one more thing. Remember we talked about a couple weeks ago and Roger Goodell came out and said the investigation is coming to a close, right? Well, when these new allegations came, these are now being looked into. So I would say it's still on the back end, on the back nine, as you would say. But I don't think it's over because I believe the league is investigating these new claims as well and talking to Deshaun Watson about it as well.
I get it. I truly do. The Browns saw an opportunity to get a top-flight QB and they jumped on it. It's not their job to be good people or role models or anything of the sort. Everyone in the Browns gets paid to win football games, and they thought Deshaun Watson would give them the best chance of doing that. From a fantasy football perspective, we do have to acknowledge that there's a strong likelihood he will be suspended. I have completely taken Watson out of my rankings this year, as the fact that more accusations coming forward after the NFL had neared the end of the investigation means they don't want to risk looking bad and give him a suspension and then have even more accusers come forward after the fact. The current count is 24. Civil or criminal trial, it truly doesn't matter. Watson will face some sort of disciplinary action from the NFL. Charles Robinson of Yahoo Sports says, "I wouldn't be surprised at all if it's a year suspension. I think deep down the Browns are probably bracing for the worst." The Browns actually priced in this risk in their contract offer, as they are only on the hook for a little over $1 million in base salary for 2022. Deshaun Watson will be making $46 million per year in the 4 years following. That wasn't an accident. So assuming that Watson doesn't play, we need to adjust our projections based on who the backup QB will be. We know it's not Baker Mayfield, as he wanted to be traded and felt betrayed as soon as the Deshaun Watson to Cleveland rumors started. Frankly, I can't blame him. He was the first QB to fulfill his potential and take the Browns to the playoffs in literal decades. Then he played hurt for them and had a bad season, and it earned him absolutely nothing. But that's life, and that's the business of the NFL, for both Browns and Baker. That leaves us with Jacoby Brissett. Well, let's just say I bet the Browns wish they could be starting Baker Mayfield instead of Jacoby Brissett. Is Brissett an NFL quarterback? Absolutely. Is he an NFL QB that's going to make you a winning football team? I think that's an unequivocal no. In 2017, he started 15 games for Indy, going 4-11 with 13 touchdowns, 7 picks, and just under 3,100 yards. In 2019, he started 15 games for Indy and went 7-8 with 18 touchdowns, 6 picks, and just under 3,000 yards. This will be his best pro season of his career. His next starting opportunity would come in 2021, as he went 2-3 for the Miami Dolphins, throwing under 1,300 yards with 5 touchdowns and 4 picks. In that year, he also averaged his lowest yards per attempt of any year that he was a starter, with a paltry 5.7 yards per attempt and 5.3 air yards per attempt. If you're unfamiliar with this statistic, it's exactly how it sounds. Think about it. The average distance Brissett's pass traveled in the air was 5 yards. That's what you have to look forward to in this Browns offense. So let's finally talk about why I'm even doing this video. There are a few fantasy options that would benefit in a dink and dunk offense that will be trailing the majority of games. But there's one player in particular who can have a breakout year. You guessed it, Kareem Hunt. Hunt is a 5'10" bowling ball that was drafted in the 3rd round out of Toledo. He won the Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2017 with Kansas City and made the Pro Bowl. His greatest quality isn't necessarily his speed, as he was the 40th percentile running a 4.6 40-yard dash, but it's actually his burst. As you can see with some of these highlights, he has an ability to use his momentum to power forward on goal line carries, and he's incredibly shifty and agile when he's snagging a catch out of the backfield or lining up in the slot for a short route. Since getting to Cleveland, he's had to back up Nick Chubb, who is the better running back, but Kareem Hunt's role in this offense is the 3rd down back and an expanded role in the passing game. Perfect for a dink and dunk QB who's going to need to lead comebacks. He only played in 8 games last year due to an injury, so let's look at his 2020 stats when he played in 16 games and started in 5. In that season, Hunt had a 75% catch rate on 51 targets with 5 touchdowns receiving and 6 yards per target, right in line with what Jacoby Brissett is comfortable throwing. He also had 841 yards on the ground with 6 rushing TDs. There's also another element to Kareem Hunt's season this year. He wants to be a starting running back again after having to leave Kansas City, and he'll be an unrestricted free agent next year, as this is his last year of his rookie deal. Always bet on a player's motivation to get his stats in a contract year. Kareem Hunt was RB10 in the 2020 year when he played 16 games. RB10 as a backup. He's currently ranked RB29 and 81 overall in this year's consensus rankings. That means you have the potential to draft a top 10 running back around the 7th round of your fantasy draft. Kareem Hunt needs to be on your radar come draft time.